No problem, Rad. Thanks for the support. Did Bogles break Darker for all rounds? It did. So this is little blue-red tempo. Basically, someone said, hey, will you build around Soul-Scar Mage and Izzet Charm in a blue-red tempo style shell like I'd been playing? And I really felt that, like, if I was adding more one-drops to the deck, I wanted to pull the overall curve down and just kind of be more aggressive. One of the things I'm trying out here, which seems really interesting, is you'll notice I'm on 3 Grim Lavamancer, which is more than a lot of people can usually play. Thought Scour is a card that's hopefully going to help allow us to play more copies of Grim Lavamancer and still have enough resources in our graveyard to activate them consistently. Let's see how this plays out overall. It's got far less counter magic, especially in the main deck. I've got 2 Spell Snares and 2 Izzet Charms as, like, conditional counter magic of sorts. So we'll see how this goes. See if it feels better, worse, or just different. Yeah, I don't think Pyroclasm's very good in Modern. I think just, like, not getting that 3rd point's a big deal. How playable is this deck without Snapcaster Mage? Any deck that plays Snapcaster Mage, generally speaking, is going to be significantly worse without Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster Mage is a very unique, powerful, and flexible card. I would not register a blue-red Lightning Bolt deck in Modern without Snapcaster Mage. I would strongly recommend just building something else instead. Alright. This is, I mean, let's go. It's not even like the experience of playing with Snapcaster Mage. It's just like, Snapcaster Mage is a very unique effect, and it's not replaceable. You know, like, sometimes you can replace a card with a monetarily cheaper card that's a similar effect, but just slightly weaker. Like, you don't have that option with Snapcaster Mage. Like, it is just a unique card. He registered Jeskai Control without... Has he played? Has he cast those spells before? Isn't Jace, Fringe, Prodigy, or Weaker? Nope, those cards are very functionally different. Snapcaster Mage attacks, which is a big deal. A lot of these decks, especially the Lightning Bolt focused decks in Modern, need to be attacking, want to be attacking. Suspend Ancestral Visions. Alright, don't make me sad, Delver. So that was the Stone Cold worst case scenario. It was no Delver flip and no land. So we were going to be happy there if we saw a land or a Delver flip, and neither of those things happened, so that's how it goes. Is there ever an instance where you would choose to go on the draw? Yeah, when your opponent's playing Manaless Dredge and Legacy. Ding. Is this just, Stream Decker, yep. Thank you. Updated. They have a Fatal Push here. We could be in a little bit of trouble. They have a Bolt. Okay, fair. I think I'm just going to play this Soul-Scar Mage out. Someone left their Lightning Bolt out in the sun. How does your digital Lightning Bolt get painted white? We just have 2 more turns on that one. Alright, our plan of eventually drawing land is not panning out, chat. I'm going to attempt to turn this into a 5 damage Wizard Lightning. See if they have some removal here or not. We did not. We died in a blaze. Well, I guess the good news is, like, this is going to put them to 9. And, like, they probably don't have any way to gain health in their deck. And we technically have 9 points in our hand, kind of, sort of. I mean, if we don't draw lands, we're probably going to draw more lightning bolts at some point, right? And, like, a lot of our deck costs 1, to be fair. I don't think this game is a argument for putting more lands on my deck. I think this game's an argument for I should mulligan more, but I think more lands is probably unnecessary. Brutality could gain life. That's true. That's true. That is a reasonable Magic the Gathering card they could be playing that gains health. Bye, friend. You'll be missed. Next month, we get to hatch our baby Pichu together. Faraday, thanks for the 8-month resubscription. I appreciate that, and welcome back. I still love my creature lands. The next deck we're playing has 6 creature lands in it, I think. I think it's 6. It might be 6. It's 5 or 6. Okie doke. So we get to Stifle Bird counter this, which is nice. No, that's a Magic Online feature, Moosey Juicy. So here's the problem with flashing in Snapcaster Mage here is that if they kill the Snapcaster in response, I actually can't play Wizard Lightning. Congrats, Patreon. What if instead we didn't do that? Eve Zhao, thank you for the 9-month resubscription. Happy birthday. Just gonna hang tight for a hot second here, I think. Grab my last Steam, grab another Steam Vents here. I'm gonna plan to... No, I'm not flashing in the bird. The bird's countering Ancestral Vision. So the important thing to remember with the Stifle Bird is that Suspend has 2 triggers to turn its cast. There's a trigger to remove the last counter, and there is a trigger... There's a trigger to cast the spell. We're probably dead. Probably dead. I do not accept Battle of Wits decks. They generally make Magic Online very unhappy. Is this the evolution of the Blue-Red Wizards decks? This is a different iteration of the Blue-Red Wizards deck. This is a lower to the ground iteration. It's playing more 1-mana spells and no creature lands. Man, that's brutal. This was not a good deck to miss land drops against. Opponent's deck is very, very clunky and full of card advantage, so the fact that we weren't able to get under them successfully feels really bad. This is better, worse, or just different. Well, I've now played half a game with it, so unlike many Magic players, I'm not going to lie to you and pretend that I can tell you things that I don't know. So the answer is, I don't know. The answer is, I don't know. Debbie, thank you for the 3-month resubscription. I have no idea who those people are. I don't know who that first oh my god, I just clicked through that because I was reading chat. Fuck me. Well, there goes that chance. C4, thank you for the brand new tier 1 sub. Welcome. Lie to me, lie to me, lie to me. All right, so that one was my fault, potentially. No guarantee we win there, but I definitely clicked through that when I shouldn't have. Make unfounded statements and pretend they're objectively correct. Yep. It's okay. The smartest thing you can do, chat, is admit that you don't know something. It's okay to be like, you know what? I'm not sure. We need to learn more about that before we can say something meaningful. I'm going to bring in at least one surgical here. I only know that I know nothing. Some Greek loser nobody's ever heard of. Yeah, machine clicking AI. Sisto, MTG, thank you for the 3-month resubscription and welcome back. I appreciate that. Thanks for re-upping. Alright, I'm not gonna do it this time. I don't have one drops to justify keeping a one-lander. So I'm bringing in Surgical in this matchup because grinding through them surgicaling back or K-commanding back Snapcaster is pretty impossible. Alright, well, that's not bad. Have a good night, Python. Someone asked what my opinion on Arena was. I actually really like Arena from what I've seen of it. We played it for an hour on stream. We had a sponsored Arena segment. I like Arena. I like a lot of what it's doing, but Magic is the formats that you enjoy playing, and I don't play Standard. I don't play Draft. I don't play Singleton or whatever their weird formats are. So like Arena can't be Magic for me because it doesn't let me play formats of Magic that I care about. Maybe someday that will change and I'll be able to play formats that I enjoy on Arena. And, if I could play formats that I enjoyed on Arena, I'd probably play a little bit of Arena on stream. But I don't have that option. Alright, so is this a Stifle your Scalding Tarn game? I think this is like just Soul-Scar Mage game. Is Tireless Tracker your favorite green creature? It's up there. Guathian, thank you for the 6-month resubscription. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Speaking of arena formats in the future, be down for a postmodern. Yeah, I'm super excited for a new non-rotating format. I like non-rotating formats in general, and the idea of a non-rotating format that's slow and grindy without being legacy is something that's appealing to me personally. I would really enjoy getting to play a non-rotating format where the average game, is like somewhere between 4 and 7 turns, whereas like a lot of the average games in Modern right now are like somewhere in the probably like 2 to 5 turn range. If I had to make up a number based off of nothing. Are there any Scape Shift decks on my website? There's a Naya Titan Shift deck. No, I believe there's a Mark Rosewater quote somewhere talking about how the next format's not going to involve fetch lands. Fetch lands are pretty miserable in general. They're basically like loading screens. They're bad for coverage. They're bad for players. They're like fine online because we're not shuffling, but fetch lands enable cheaters to have more windows to cheat. Like, there's basically very little upside around fetch lands. It's possible I should have jammed this on my turn. They've got 5 cards in their hand, and we have nothing, and we've drawn, 5 lands in our 18 land deck. And this is why I'm a big fan of creature lands. When you draw this many lands and you have some creature lands that can attack, you get to use your lands as resources. Yes, it is Apostle Man. We're gonna go ahead and pack it in here. Nah, there's just no way we're getting through all this. I messed up that first game by clicking through and not using the Obstructionist on their Ancestral Visions, their third one. I think if we countered the Ancestral Visions in that first game, we might have had a chance to run them out of resources. You shuffle just as much in Legacy and Vintage. No, you do, and those formats suck for shuffling as well. Like, fetch lands being terrible and bad gameplay and like loading screens on coverage like isn't unique to Modern. That sucks and enables cheaters and loading screens in Legacy, Vintage, and Modern. Like, it's bad in all of them. Like, but again, my distaste for fetch lands is outweighed by my amount that I generally enjoy non-rotating formats. Seems pretty good. Got a couple of lands and a good mix of spells. Origins. I think Origins is the best place to have a new non-rotating for. I do have a standing desk. I have an uplift standing desk, which, fingers crossed, we should have a referral code soon. They posted online that if you've been thinking about picking up an uplift desk or a standing desk and you want to get one of the ones like I have here on stream, please wait a smidge. I'm hoping to hear back from them next week. They're putting in a referral. They're creating a referral program finally, so you should be able to get a discount with whatever code they set up, and I should be able to get a kickback if you want to support my content. Soul-Scar Mage was really bad against Grixis control. Haven't run an Izzet Charm. Yeah, I like my standing desk a lot. I've had mine for, we got it in November of last year, I believe, and I definitely think if you're an actual adult who like spends, you know, probably 4+ hours a day in front of the computer, I spend, you know, 6 to 10 some days, like not sitting for all of that is ideal. I think a format beginning with Dominaria would work. You wouldn't create a new non-rotating format starting with Dominaria for a long time. Like, for a non-rotating format, it needs to be different than standard, right? So, alright, well I get to Abrade this map, and then they're gonna go Natural Tron Wormcoil next turn. You do appear to still be subscribed, God Emperon. I appreciate the continued support. And honestly, like, I looked around at the pricing of, like, other desks that were, like, good quality desks that you could buy from places. The standing desks aren't that much more expensive. Like, my 72-inch desk, which is their wider one that I have for my 3 monitors, what's the pricing? I think this was, like, $600 or around there, which isn't that much more than desks that don't have nice features. Is there a new non-rotating format being released soon? The answer to that question is we don't know. It's a Walking Ballista. Yep. Probably see this trade with the Soul-Scar Mage, I'd imagine. I feel like with the O-Stone in play, they wouldn't play this Walking Ballista here if they weren't trading it. Alright, do I want a bolt here? I think I do. I think I just want to get my 4 damage bolts in. Maybe playing the Walking Ballista last turn signifies they don't have a 5th land. Sweet, they don't. That's good for us. Yeah, and now I just snap Wizard Lightning here in response, or snap Bolt or whatever. And then this puts them down to 2, and then they'll be dead to this Wizard Lightning in our hand. We cause them to miss a beat with our awesome main deck Abrade here, and then we'll get to capitalize on them stumbling a bit. Alright, so Negates, Disdainful Stroke, Alpine Moon, Wizard's Retort, Burst Lightning, and Grim Lavamancer are pretty bad. What else do I want to trim? So I know the Abrade was like okay there, but is this a matchup that I want Abrade in? I guess killing Oblivion Stone while I have Alpine Moon out is pretty good. I don't know how many burn spells I actually want to trim. Oh, Spell Snare is pretty bad in this matchup, right? I can cut those. How do you feel about this? I think Abrade's probably good enough. 5 months of Tron frustration. Maybe this time we could show them who's boss. JDM, thank you for the 5-month resubscription. I appreciate that. Does Tron even run? Not anymore. They have Sylvan Scrying. Once upon a time, Tron had Pyroclasm, but that's not been a thing for a long time now. Sand looks great. Turn 1 Delver, turn 2 Alpine Moon. I think basing the start of a new format based on card frames is stupid. We did that for Modern, and that's why we have Tron lands in this format. Please don't do that again. Green Lantern Rising, thank you for the brand new Prime support. There's a lot of great people. Make a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for supporting mine. Just Field of Ruin, weaken Tron in the long run. Not really. Field of Ruin is like, you know, by the time you can activate Field of Ruin on the draw, they've had a turn with Tron mana. It's just like generally not enough. Starting Lorwyn. That's actually like a really good cut. Perfect. Thought Scour also has synergy in this deck with the ability to clear what Delver sees too. You can use it kind of like we use fetch lands a lot of the time. Alright, let's name Urza's Tower here. Tron is a feature, not a bug. Listen, there's 2 types of people in the world, chat. People who hate Urza's Tower and people who register Urza's Tower. It's okay, regardless of which side of that line you fall on, but just be aware that those are the only 2 kinds of people that exist in this world. What do I think about the GP prog? I think it's hilarious that Blue-White Control was the most represented deck in Day 2 and then failed the top 8. They don't have a way to take this Alpine Moon off the table here ASAP. We're gonna potentially be able to run them down this game. Alpine Moon just really showing the power it offers versus a card like Blood Moon in a matchup like this. Just the resource efficiency that this card enables is very, very powerful. Really, really love this card for attacking these big mana decks. What's going on, Chef? If you're driving, make sure you have... If you are the one driving, make sure you have your video off, please and thank you. Audio only is great. How different does this deck feel compared to Blue-Red Tempo? Well, we're only in our second match with it here, so I don't really want to, like, draw any, like, large sweeping conclusions about anything. Since we didn't draw a counterspell here, I'm just going to fire off all my spells to get a bunch of prowess triggers here. So we're hitting them for a good clean 10 ball here. They can Walking Ballista, shoot down my Delver next turn if they want. But Soul-Scar Mage plus Snapcaster and Vendilion Clique, probably going to be pretty reasonable here. Damping and Alpine Moon have plenty of Neutrine. It definitely doesn't post overall numbers, but I could see the frustration. Turn 2 core. Sure, so here's, and I think this is a really important difference, need no name, between Storm and Goryo's and Tron. So Storm, Goryo's, and Tron, or sorry, Storm and Goryo's, these are decks that care far more about discard spells and graveyard hate than they do, and even removal to a degree, than a lot of other things in Modern. And the reason why this is important is because Let's Snap Bolt here to kill them. The reason why this is important is because land destruction is not only expensive in general, but you need to play land destruction specifically for Tron. If you're playing a card like Surgical Extraction or Relic or Rest in Peace, the number of places that that style of effect gets to come in is huge versus a card like Alpine Moon, which is in my sideboard basically exclusively for Tron and Valakut. And decks like Storm care about cards like Fatal Push and Lightning Bolt and Inquisition far more than a deck like Tron does. So that's the big difference between a deck like Tron and those other decks that you're saying. Because I agree, they're all obnoxious, but like doing obnoxious things is kind of sweet. It's the axes on which the obnoxious things allow themselves to be interacted with is important. Modern is a format where the better sideboard wins the game. I mean, that's a great thing to tell yourself if you want to cop out on why you lost the game rather than being critical on your decisions. Here's a different way to approach it. Modern's a format where better sideboard wins the game. Modern's a format that really rewards you for mulliganing properly. Magic players hate to mulligan. The thing that's very different about Modern versus formats like Legacy and Standard is Modern is a format that's generally speaking more about having the right cards rather than having a large quantity of cards. All right, so I think we're just getting aggressive here, right? Spell Snare. They didn't play a 2-drop last turn. I think I'm just going to like dig for my land here. I'm going to go ahead and send this upstairs. Just get a 4 damage bolt in here. We drew an Izzet Charm against Tron, but they were dead before we could cast it. So again, this deck list, I was donated to play Blue-Red Tempo with explicitly 4 Soul-Scar Mage and a couple copies of Izzet Charm. Soul-Scar Mage is interesting and I think worth exploring. I think Izzet Charm is too clunky and slow in Modern. I think the fact that it can't shock the opponent's face directly makes it pretty bad. Thanks for the great content. Keep up the rants. Thank you for the 3-month resubscription there. Nifty. I do appreciate that. Welcome back. Welcome back. Well. That, we've got some damage in our hand, chat. We've got, I do love playing 12 Lightning Bolts. I would like the record to reflect that I enjoy playing 12 bolts. What did we lose to in the first match? Grixis Control. I messed up the first game. And then, got a little flooded. I should have gotten another red source here, huh? I guess I get a red source with the path. Came for the memes, stayed for the memes. Nod Null Quick. Thank you for the 3-month resubscription. I appreciate the quarter of a year of support. Welcome back. So, Lost Lurgoyf, Izzet Charm is flexible, right? Like, the power in a card like Izzet Charm is supposed to come from the flexibility. The problem is that, like, Modern's a format that's so much about efficiency, mana efficiency, and tempo that paying extra mana to be flexible on a card like Izzet Charm generally isn't worthwhile in my experience. Indie Terror, thank you for the 4 months. Thanks for the 3rd of a year and welcome back. Welcome to everybody. Got almost 800 people here this evening. Hope everyone's having a great Sunday. Had a great weekend wherever you're at in the world. I opted to play my Nimble Obstructionist during my main phase there, even though it has Flash. And this is important. I think this is something a lot of people mess up in decks like what we're playing. Don't be afraid to play your instant speed cards as sorceries to play around counter spells. My opponent's deck was kind of looking like it could be a spell color deck, so I just wanted to guarantee resolve my Nimble there. Still loving the content. Keep it up always, Tang. Thank you for the 5 months there, and welcome back. I did decide to veto the sword. I don't think sword is good. I think Sword of Light and Shadow is a card that you want to bring in against decks that have Culligan's Command, basically. Swords, the reason why I didn't put the sword in the board is the reason why Stoneforge Mystic not being legal is a bad joke in this format. Like, artifacts as card advantage are bad in a format full of Abrades and Culligan's Commands. So they're at 11, and we have 9 points in our hand. The fact that I failed to fetch a Steam Vent on that Flooded Strand could bite us here if we draw a Burn Spell next turn. Is that Teferi? Yeah, it looks like the Todd's team. Did Todd top 8? Where'd he finish? He was doing well for a while, right? I'm gonna look up what old Stevens did here. 12th. What if we took green-white unplayables and jammed a bunch of clunk into it? Subtle sweep. This card's really sweet in these kind of mid-rangey creature decks. Gives you a pseudo sweeper still. Oh, Voice of Resurgence. Oh, Voice of Resurgence. Yeah, Todd's deck was definitely interesting. So you didn't see how that matters. See, I disagree with that. I think Kolaghan's Command's a 3-mana card. So, Sword of Light and Shadow is a lot like Karanos in that I think it shows a fundamental misunderstanding of what this deck's goals are in the grindy matchups. Modern people tend to not be good at what's called rule assessment, where it's easy to want to grind in matches where you shouldn't be grinding. Don't try and outgrind a deck that's going to grind you into the ground almost every time. Instead, focus on going under them. Recognize your role in the matchup and know that you're the beatdown and try and kill them. Don't try and play a couple of these slow grindy cards and think you're automatically going to be better at grinding than a deck that's designed to grind. Why do I hate all of Todd decks so much? He's just making interesting decks that do fair. I love playing fair Magic decks. They're a lot of fun. In fact, sweet fair Magic decks is the reason why I want a new non-rotating format to exist in Modern, or to exist in Magic, excuse me. Decks that are slow and clunky and not interactive, like the Green-White Company deck and like the Bant deck that Todd Stevens played. These decks are very reasonable if you play against a bunch of Hallowed Fountains. But Modern is a format that has so much variety in it and such a wide selection of different decks that are competitive. And many of the decks that are competitive in Modern don't care how many cards your deck can draw. They don't care about your Knight of the Reliquary. They don't care about your Courser of Kruphix. These are cards that are going to get under you or combo you through them and just like shrug and laugh. And, like, there's nothing wrong with loving playing a deck like this. I love decks like this. I'm just a realist, and I don't think these decks are good in Modern unless you're getting a very specific subset of pairings. And I think Modern's a format where you can't realistically hope to get specific subsets of pairings in most of your tournaments. I mean, I disagree with that, Dows. Like, this green-white deck and, like, this Bant deck, to a degree, these aren't incremental advantage decks. These are, like, slam dunk card advantage deck. This isn't the small edges deck. This is a put giant things into play and generate large card advantage with Planeswalkers and Tireless Trackers and stuff like that. Mike Sigrist is afraid of Dryad Arbor because he doesn't understand Modern. He's just parroting what tons of other people have parroted. People, even good Magic players, consistently fail to acknowledge that the power level of Magic cards is format contextual, and a card or an interaction that was too good in a format a decade ago doesn't mean that it's still going to be too good today. Okay, Jedi Jeff. Path is interaction. 3-mana interaction is not very interactive in Modern. This is basically, ooh, I should have held my land. This is basically a turn 2.5 format a lot of the time. There are a lot of decks that get under you. Dramoka's Command is only, if I would have held the land, we could have potentially killed them here. So that's a small mistake. I forgot I had Izzet Charm in my deck. And again, like, if Izzet Charm had just been a spell that dealt damage there, we would have definitely won the game. But maybe I should hold lands to play around that. And again, there's nothing wrong with enjoying playing clunky piles of Magic cards that, like, if you enjoy dirtling with Teferi and Jace and Knight and all these other cards, great. You should play them and you should enjoy yourself. My goal here is to be honest about my feelings about decks and to talk, you know, basically, I'm just trying to call it like I see it. In my opinion, these decks consistently come up very short in Modern. So, Dire Fleet Daredevil is different. Dire Fleet Daredevil is a card that kind of plays into your primary plan against explicitly Jeskai or the Mirror, but it sounds very narrow in general. Pinkado, thank you very much for the brand new Twitch Prime subscription. I appreciate that. Welcome. I'm not going to board in with their last Abrade. Let's submit and run it back. How would you recommend improving your mulligame other than playing a ton of games? Play a metric ton of games. This isn't, you know, this isn't your 8th grade math class. You can't cut right to the end. You can't skip over the hard work. A lot of Magic is practice. There are some people that have like an intuitiveness or like they understand some things from a fundamental level better than other people, but generally speaking, you just need to put the work in. You know, reflecting on your games is good, but you need to play games to be able to reflect on them. No, I'm not a fan of Legacy. And actually, part of the reason why I don't like Legacy is because aggro decks are really bad in Legacy. Generally speaking, the format is very, very punishing for traditional style aggressive decks in my experience. Deal never didn't have it. Well, this is like quite possibly the most ideal scenario here. Maybe I should play Soul-Scar Mage here. I don't know, the idea of getting to race with both Delvers ASAP is pretty appealing. How would you say Hallowed Fountain is in the current metagame? I mean, a bunch of Magic players who are definitely much better than I am all came to the conclusion that they wanted to play Hallowed Fountain decks at the Grand Prix in Prague this weekend, so they also all failed to top 8 with them, though, having a bunch of buys. Blue-White Control is the most played deck among players with 3 buys at Grand Prix Prague, and none of them top 8'd. How do you feel about Boblish Jund? I think Jund with 4 trackers is great. Alright. This is what we like to refer to as the nuts and the biz. Although I guess I can't Wizard Lightning anymore, huh? I mean, you could argue I wasn't supposed to flip it here, because if they Spell Queller, they can trade for one of my things, right? And I mean, Pizza H, that's what every format of Magic is about, honestly. Like, Magic is a game that's about, and formats especially, are about having a deck that you enjoy playing and then playing it a bunch. Like, the make or break for a lot of people is, do they have a deck that they enjoy the play patterns with or against other people? What do you think of Bant or Blue-White Spirits? If I was going to work on Spirits after this weekend, I would start with Andre Strauski's list from the Grand Prix. I think he had a lot of good innovations. Thanks for the great content, Mike. Thank you for the 3-month resubscription there. Nope, they are human insects. They put... Listen, a bug can't work a job, chat. You gotta quit your job to become an insect. Why Soul-Scar Mage and not Bulk? Because I want to start attacking them. Soul-Scar Mage starts attacking. B. Aggressive. B. E. Aggressive. Do. Do 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 do. Alright, are you dead? I haven't counted, but I believe they are dead. They knew about both these Wizard Lightnings, right? Right? I don't care who designed their deck list. I don't care. I'm not giving Strauski credit for inventing or designing anything. Someone just asked, which list would I recommend? And I would recommend the list that Strauski played. And I don't really care who designed a deck. I think bickering about who designed a deck is, like, pointless. Do I want Staticaster in this matchup? Probably not. That's really slow on the draw. I'm just going to run it back. Blue-white control was the most played deck among the 3-buy players, and it was the most played deck in day 2 of the event. I prefer if we don't mention that content creator in this channel, please and thank you. They are not a positive influence on the community. I think this is going to be a hand where I bolt this on one. The deck's got a lot of 3s in it. My hand's a little bit slow here. No voice, no voice, no voice. Sting. But how will I feel intellectually superior to other people if I don't correct them? It's a tough bit. Gotta make it work though. So shocking in this Steam Vents here is a good psychological thing too, because now my opponent has to think about, like, well, what 2-mana counterspell do they have? Like, am I playing around Mana Leak? Are they playing around Remand? Like, Izzet Charm probably isn't on their radar. Izzet Charm here also pretty significantly worse than Remand or Mana Leak. Worth noting. Like, if this was a Remand, we'd remand this back to the Stone Age and feel pretty good about ourselves. But now we've just shocked for no reason. Again, this is one of those cards that just consistently feels mediocre to me in Modern. I think the fact that it can't shock the players is like the biggest knock against it. Over under on Izzet cards during this trip to Rev. Put these towards the spicy Esper pile. Thank you very much. Thank you for the support. I do appreciate it. I think this is going to be an end step bird. We can discard the second to the first, right? Do I want to kill Courser of Crufix? And again, just like, could you, like, if this card dealt damage to my opponent or could have meaningfully countered Spell Snare, could you just imagine how far ahead we'd be right now? Like, I've got 8 points in my hand. Maybe they have a Path to Exile, we'll get to Spell Pierce that, but like, feeling, yay, my Izzet Charm had text. God bless. God bless, my Izzet Charm had text. Alright, so I kind of have 10 points in my hand here, right? In a roundabout way. You're scared of Blood Moon? You mean you like playing Magic? That's weird. Alright, I'm just gonna send this upstairs here. What charms do you think are modern playable? I think Golgari Charm is great. I think that card has a lot going for it. I'm gonna hold this other Wizard Lightning for now, because I want to be able to, and again, like, Izzet Charm kind of showing the awkwardness with Burst Lightning. Like, I want to play my 5th land to enable Burst Lightning, but I kind of want to hold lands to loot through things with Izzet Charm. This is why I held the other Wizard Lightning here. Oh yeah, Boros Charm is absurd, right? The commands are, like, functionally different than charms. The fact that commands let you pick 2 make them very, very different. Girl Charm. It's so weird that Izzet Charm can't hit players too, because in general, charms are like 3 different 1-mana effects that you get to pick from in their colors, and like, it's Shock hits a player as a 1-mana effect. Enemy color commands could be sweet. Oh, I can imagine wishing for things for blue-red tempo. Like, I was playing this archetype when we didn't have, We didn't have copies of, a lot of different things. Do I want to kill this bird here? I think I want to kill this bird. Do I need to kick this Burst Lightning on the Courser? How do we feel about kick Burst Lightning on the Courser? I think that's necessary. We know they have Finks in their hands, so we're going to have a hard time racing that as well. And again, we're flooding without creature lands here, and it feels really terrible. I wonder if I missed a point of damage anywhere this game. Because they're at 5. Whenever they end at 5, it's always like, man, did I miss a point somewhere? So we know they drew Negate for the turn. They have Negate, Kitchen Finks, and then 2 cards we don't know in their hand. Can likely conclude they don't have a Path to Exile because this bird would have been gone by now. 8 racks on the no-fly list because I find the gameplay particularly uninteresting and boring with the deck. No, it was a Negate that was on top of their deck. Alright, so if they play Finks here, we're dead on board. They have Spell Queller. Probably dead to Spell Queller, honestly. Spell Queller into Kitchen Finks is pretty good. Yep. Yeah, we've played Deathcloud in the past. There's a couple of green-black Deathcloud decks on the YouTubes. They played Finks, second Burst Lightning was lethal. Yeah, that's fair. You can always find deck lists that we have coming up in the queue, bit.ly/donation queue. If we draw one of our 12 bolts, they have both Negate and Kitchen Finks in their hand, so drawing one of our bolts doesn't really matter. Birds of Paradise is an interesting play there. Nimble's actually kind of funny. We can stifle the Kitchen Finks trigger now. So I get to go block, shoot them to 3. We haven't won, but we're definitely in a position where we could win. Turl, thank you for checking out, honey. I appreciate the support. If they don't play Finks, we could be in trouble. Yeah, no Finks is scary. I think I'm supposed to cycle this and try and hit 2 burn spells here. Play to your outs, chat. They could have 2 negates here. They've been holding up mana a lot. They could have a second counterspell. We know they have 1 negate. Yeah, this explains why they played so conservatively. This explains why they played so conservatively. Yep. That explains why they didn't play the bird, or why they didn't play the Finks. Opponent played that really well. Definitely used the tools that they had efficiently. I like not playing the Kitchen Finks on the back of double negate. Makes a lot of sense from them. Mad Hatter, thank you for the brand new Twitch Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. And again, just like Izzet Charm being pretty rancid there, basically being worse than either a burn spell or a regular counter spell. I think flashing into attack was a good play. Can you tell me why flashing into attack was a good play? Why is flashing into attack when they have a bird to block a good play? Instead of me justifying my plays to you, justify your suggestions to me. Be constructive. Be specific. Like, Nimble, like, we're dead. Like, if we flash in the Nimble Obstructionist, they block with the bird, then untap and kill us. And, like, we can't draw 2 burn spells that way. Ding. Here's a matchup where you've really liked Izzet Charm. I mean, Izzet Charm is better than... Izzet Charm is better than Remand here to set the bar low, but it's worse than a burn spell on average. Alright, so we're looking for a red source here. That is kind of a red source. Yeah, I agree, Pizza. I think mana efficiency is a big deal in a matchup like this. And like Izzet Charm again is just like not worth the 2 mana that's printed in its corner. Like, could you imagine if this Izzet Charm again had just been like a 1 mana burn spell? Even Remand probably would have been better because they're stuck on lands here. Just like, that's how I want to evaluate this Izzet Charm. Every time I draw it, would this have been better as a Remand or a burn spell? Yes? Okay, then we probably shouldn't be playing it. Fleckmister, you need to stop playing at your LGS if they're going to do price support that way. The best way you speak as a consumer is with your wallet. And their price support sounds really awful. Anywhere that only does 4 rounds and then pays out on final positions, just like run by an idiot and doesn't understand how tournament prizes should work. It's absurd that people finish with the same record in a set number of rounds tournament and don't get the same prizes. Like 4-round FNM, that's a great idea. For 4 rounds and you're going to differentiate a 3-1 in first and a 3-1 in third, that's just bad. What burn spell did we take out for Charm? I didn't take a burn spell out for Charm, Apostle Man. I built the deck from scratch as you requested. I would love a Spell Snare. That's really good. Alright, let's opt. Looking for a burn spell here. I do not want you. Looking for a burn spell here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and fetch this away. 4 in. 4 and 5 are pretty much the same. So this is 7 or 6, 8, 9. Stack with these. If we manage to not die this turn. Looking to dodge double 1 mana spell here. Boros Charm doesn't matter. I want to encourage them to Boros Charm me because I have Spell Snare in my hand. No, sorry. Explicitly because this is here, it doesn't matter. The stream. Can't wait to see all good luck from the Netherlands. Well, if you're new to my stuff and you want to see all the stuff I've come up with in the past, everything I play on stream gets archived on my YouTube channel, so you can definitely check that out. Able to capitalize on a stumble from the burn opponent here. I'm going to end up racing them out here. Soul-Scar Mage was very good. Like I said, I think this card's interesting and worth exploring. Feels very reasonable to have more OK 1-drops. I think Soul-Scar Mage does actually work to actually solve a problem the blue-red tempo archetype has, which is Soul-Scar Mage lets you use multiple burn spells over a series of turns to kill larger creatures, which is nice. Yep, yeah, youtube.com/Jeff Hoagland. You can also go to jeffhoagland.com, and I have a bunch of videos and playlists there for specific decks. So, how do we feel about trimming these in this matchup? Especially against Eidolon of Rhetoric. Playing a bunch of cantrips seems unimpressive. Yeah, I agree. I think Soul-Scar Mage is probably a card worth exploring. Izzet Charm I don't think is good. I think 2 Spell Snares is terrible. That's why I've registered 2 of them. Sorry. Completely unplayable. That's why they're in my deck. I think in a generic modern field, Spell Snare is a fine card. I think it's everything a tempo deck wants to be doing. Like, it trades up on resources every time. I think are specific matchups that exist in the format where Spell Snare obviously doesn't have a lot of hits, but I think Burn, Affinity, both traditional robots and the Hardened Scales deck, Storm, Jeskai, Blue-White, like all of these decks have a lot of really reasonable Spell Snare targets. So, I don't think Beaumont Courier in general is very good in Modern for the same reasons that Geist to Saint Traff tends to be bad in Modern. Modern's a very creature-centric format that's about attacking and blocking, and it can be very difficult to consistently get through and connect with the Beaumont Courier to put cards up underneath it. I mean, Tron's still a great deck. It literally just lost in the finals of an open. You can find my preferred deck list on my website, jeffhoagland.com/deck lists. Magic's an expensive luxury hobby. This hand's sweet. This hand's really good. Fun fact, Doubling Season might be the card I reject more than any other card as far as deck lists are concerned. I reject a lot of Doubling Season decks. It gets my copy paste. This deck is too slow. It's not linear enough and not interactive enough to be competitive. Man, I'm about to get as Tarkus commanded, aren't I? They are proactively a Tarkus commanding me. Man, they definitely could have got me here. Yeah, I guess I could have bolted it. Now I get to guaranteed Burst Lightning, though. So, this is important here. You'll note that I fetched after the Goblin Guide trigger. The reason to fetch after the Goblin Guide trigger is this gives me an extra chance to draw a land. So by letting the Goblin Guide trigger resolve, I get a chance to draw a land if it's already on top of my deck. And now that there wasn't a land on top of my deck, I get to fetch and now have a shuffled deck to get a fresh shot add a land on top of my deck, which is great. Brian, I'm so glad that it's been a quarter of a year. Thank you for being an amazing streamer and mostly being positive. Thank you for the content. Thank you for the support, Brian. I do appreciate it. My website's all written in WordPress. WordPress is just a quite amazing tool. Smuggler Copter is okay. It's definitely reasonable when paired with cards like Lingering Souls or Bitter Blossom, I think. Yeah, there are currently over 40 decks on my site. Lots of sweet things. So this iteration of this archetype is me trying a more tap-out variation that's more focused on burn spells rather than leaving up mana consistently. Well, I mean, like, if your opponent's boarding in Stony Silence against your Smuggler's Copter, you're, like, probably okay with that decision, right? Alright, so I don't actually think I want to play Grim Lavamancer out here. I think I would rather hold up Spell Snare this turn, / Lightning Bolt. Oh, could I have tried to kill them here? Nah, I think trying to kill them is not worth running into Deflecting Palm. I think with the Spell Snare and the Bolt and the 2 Soul-Scar Mages, I'm far enough ahead that I just, like, don't need to put myself dead to Palm. I mean, instants will hate, like, Abrade and K-Command. I mean, like, saying don't play Smuggler's Copter because people play Abrade is like saying don't play creatures because people play Lightning Bolt. Like, the Dice to Doomblade argument is not a good one. I'd like to have that as a video I can link people. Maybe. They have another Helix here. You know what they have? Okay, Boros Charm. So this means we're dead to nothing because we drew another Lightning Bolt. Who's the burn deck now? You were dead anyways. You were dead anyways. Who's the burn deck now? Soul-Scar Mage was very good here. Having another efficient 1-drop is really sweet. Having another efficient 1-drop is really sweet. Alright, we're 2-2. We died to Bant stuff. And what was this first match? Oh, Grixis. I punted against Grixis. So yeah, so far feelings are Soul-Scar Mage is impressive and Izzet Charm is poop. Just clunky, not worth the mana cost printed in its corner. So this hand gets to play Magic even if it stalls on land. And if we draw more, if we flip the Delver or draw a land, we're going to be pretty happy with this hand. So I think the risk to reward is worthwhile with this hand. Thoughts? I think Electrolyze is too much mana for this archetype. I think you already struggle having too many 3 mana cards in your deck. Remember, while Snapcaster Mage has a 2 printed in his corner, this is basically a 3 mana spell. So I think Electrolyze just adds too much top end to this deck. Previous play experience is what it comes down to, Sadman. Sandman, we really need to flip this now so it doesn't die to Walking Ballista next turn. Please, please, please. Whew! Whew! It's a Spell Snare, too. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Nah, KCI is not very popular in Magic Online. It's a deck that's really tedious to click through. Still here, still spending money on Virtual Cardboard. Intangible Hawk, thank you for the 25-month resubscription there. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. So, can I burn them out here is the question. What is my role? I think we're in the burn them out segment of the game. I think we're in the burn them out segment. Yeah, I think so. Third land pretty much cements us into that mode. Delver is not a wizard on the backside, which comes up in situations like this, for sure. What do you think about sideboard Ancestral Vision against mid-range decks? I think a Delthrethus, thank you for the Twitch Prime resub there. I do appreciate that. Welcome back. I think boarding a card like Ancestral Vision in this deck shows a fundamental misunderstanding of role assessment with this deck against decks that are more aggressive, or against decks. I think you need to understand that you're the beatdown in a deck like this, and if you are boarding in cards like Ancestral Vision as opposed to just trying to kill your opponent, you're going to be very sad on average. You can always find my current Blue-Red Wizards list along with my current deck list for every archetype that I play frequently here on stream on my website, jeffhoagland.com/decklist. Yeah, the opponent's deck is sweet. We played it a few times on stream. It's a lot of fun. You feel about Vanisho, Pyromancer. I don't know what the text box on that card is, so I don't really have thoughts on it. So if they kill our board here, we get to kill them with an untapped land. If they don't kill Snapcaster Mage, they're dead to the cards in our hand. Sweet. Upstairs. Oh, it's a 2/1 that shocks. It only hits players or planeswalkers, though, right? This is a burn deck. This is a, if you want to feel smart while you play Magic, burn deck is basically what this deck is. Do you have a desire to feel smart while playing Magic the Gathering? Do you like burn? This deck is a great overlap of those two things. I think I want to trim Vendilion Clique here. They have a ton of X1 flyers. I don't think I want to trim Thought Scour. I guess cantrips are kind of clunky when they're aggressive. Burn is more complicated than people give it credit for. I didn't say burn wasn't complicated. I didn't say burn was a dumb player deck. I said this is explicitly a feel smart deck. It has lots of tricks involved in it that you get to do that the traditional burn deck generally doesn't get to do. His hand is very good. Personally, and people that have visited the channel before know my feelings on this. I hate the arguments about this deck is harder to play than that deck and yada yada yada. The only reason to get into an argument about one deck being harder or worse to play than others is to try and put other people down. And instead of putting other people down, why don't we just be nice to each other? Saba Speed, thank you for the 5-month resubscription. I looked at your YouTube content. I've watched 150 hours in the last 5 months. Well, thank you for the 5 months resubscription. I appreciate that. Glad you enjoy it. So, in my experience, people in Magic generally like to confuse the idea that a deck has a high floor with it having a low ceiling. And what I mean by that is people like to make the assumption that because a deck is generically powerful, that even when you are playing poorly, you can still do well. They like to take that to assume that a deck has to be easy to play if it has a high floor. Holy gosh, Soul-Scar Staticaster is good. It's good with Lava Man too, right? I say there's no way I'm untapping with this Lava Man, right? Just 0%. All right, give me a land or a flip, please. Deal. Yeah, huh. The more I play with Soul-Scar Mage, the more I really like this card. Also, Staticaster's great. Play more Staticasters, chat. If your Steam Vents deck doesn't have 2 Staticasters in the board, take a moment and reflect on why. How many matches do you think is required to have true proficiency in the archetype? So I am not one to just sit here and make stuff up. So the answer to that question is, I don't know. I don't have an objective way to measure that. It probably varies depending on what deck you're playing. Moto feeling like it needs a kick here. Wow, these were 2 really quick leagues. I was worried I was going to be up super late today. I wanted to do at least 3. I wanted to do at least 3 decks this evening, and we're under 2 hours and almost done with this league. So, -1/-1 counters, remove +1/+1 counters with the asterisk that if a creature with +1 counters and -1 counters die, they don't fall off. So if I kill this with Staticaster with Soul-Scar Mage out, this is going to be able to modular a counter onto something. So if I let this happen, this will Soul-Scar Mage making Welding Jar useless here, which is nice. And the only reason that I know that interaction works that way is because Infect and Undying were standard legal at the same time. And I played a lot of standard when both those interactions were standard legal. They have no cards left. Are we done here? What are we doing with ourselves, opponent? Can you stack your deck and win this game at this point? I feel like we're getting close to the they couldn't stack their deck and win this game portion. Yeah, I should test this card some more. We should play more with this card. I don't know if like cutting all the creature lands is good, but this card's really good, I think. I was probably incorrect to not give it more time sooner. I don't think it's better than Delver. I think you want both, honestly. I think having 10 1-mana creatures is probably really good. What's going on, Recon Bravo? But welcome to a Twitch stream. Be aware that if you do find yourself enjoying my stuff, you can find a ton of archives even after I sign off tonight on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jeff Hoagland, as well as organized very succinctly on my website, jeffhoagland.com/decklist. Please keep in mind that there are stream rules that we enforce in this chat, unlike a lot of channels on Twitch. So if you want to provide criticism of something that we're playing on stream, it needs to be specific and constructive. So if you want to say we should or shouldn't be playing a card, it's very important that you include a why we should or shouldn't be playing that card in our deck. Well, it's not even just trading haste for minus counters, Underdog. We're also we also Monastery Swiftspear isn't a wizard. So Monastery Swiftspear doesn't enable Wizard Lightning, which is relevant. There was a Grixis Shadow deck that played Delver that did well at an SCG Classic at some point. So the Thought Scours in this deck might be too cute. They have synergy with Delver's Trigger, and they're also good with they're good with what's it called? They're good with oh, I'm blanking out his name. They're good with Grim Lavamancer. So I've got 3 Grim Lavamancers in the deck. So Thought Scour kind of gives you more Lavaman food. They're decent with Snapcaster Mage too, yeah, for sure. Alright, so they're dead here. This kills this. Abrade kills this. Snap Burst Lightning kills them. This is still going to die at end of turn, so it's going to get a minus counter. Dealing 3 here is better because it deals minus counters. Sure, correct, yeah. It won't die, but they won't be able to make it a creature again. They're just like hoping I had a bunch of lands in my hand, I guess. Alright, so we finished the 3-2. I punted the first one against Grixis control in the first game for sure. And I came up a hair. We were so close to beating the Bant midrange deck. So as kind of a wrap up, I think honestly after playing this, I would probably consider fitting Soul-Scar Mages into this shell that we've played previously. Let me open a copy of this really quick. So I think something I might try is, as soon as Moto loads here, I think I might try something like this. How much to cut the line right now? It's always $100 to cut the line, Chef Seth, or get something that's already in the queue up to 100 points. So honestly, I might just try Peace Red, have a good one. I think I might try this. Just like cut 2 Nimbles, cut 2 lands, play the Soul-Scar Mages. This doesn't seem completely unreasonable. Might give this a go, like go down to 3 Mutavaults and 20 lands. Could see this being pretty okay. And like again, one thing to remember is that the curve on this it kind of lies. So like Wizard Lightning is basically a 1-drop. And Snapcaster Mage is basically a 3-drop, but we still have a ton of 1s here, right? Is Snare better than Pierce? Probably. I don't know. I've got a split. I've got a Coward split here because I'm not really sure which one I like better. So I think I would maybe try this next time we play Blue-Red Tempo, but again, I would definitely need to log games with this just to confirm what my gut says. But if you're a Blue-Red Tempo aficionado and wanted to try and fit Soul-Scar Mage into this. So here's the thing, and this is something that you have to separate yourself from emotionally, because emotionally it feels bad. Mutavaults are also a lie in this curve. Mutavault is not a land in this deck. Mutavault is a creature that sometimes taps for mana. I'm planning to do 1 more deck this evening, Chef Seth. I was planning to do 3 decks. This is a 17 land deck that has three creatures that sometimes tap for mana. So like, while it feels bad to like look at a hand with Mutavault as your only land and have to mulligan, you need to look at this and go, oh, this is actually like a 17 or 18 land deck, and this is actually fine. Like, I'm just playing a low resource count deck that like sometimes has this creature that casts a spell. Yeah, I think if you want to cut the lands, you need to trim the tapped land. So I think if you wanted to lower the curve, cutting the tapped lands makes sense, and then I would trim a Mutavault too, probably. For people that are my regular viewers, by the way, someone asked why the late stream tonight. I always try and do at least 1 weekend stream. Tomorrow, I have something to do in the morning, so I can't do my normal stream slot. Yeah, definitely, Chef Seth. 10 out of 10. If you get the one that you have to 100, we'll do that next and push Grixis Fairies next time. Tomorrow, I'm going to be live at 1 o'clock Cornfield time. Central Standard Time to start instead of my normal 9 a.m. I'm gonna do like 1 o'clock to like 8 or 9 o'clock tomorrow night. No, I think all blue fetches is ideal. Yeah, maybe that's less true with this many red cards. Yeah, maybe that is less true, actually. I kind of like that. I don't know about 4-2, but at least 5, at least 5-5. I like 5-5. Yeah, I think this is fine. If I don't have Tarn, you suggest using blue fetches or red fetches. Probably split the difference. Yeah, if you don't have Tarns, you probably want 3 and 3 or 3 and 2, depending on how many you're playing.